hello, and welcome to the show. I'm Nadia Jordana, and you are watching Where Women Talk. Our guest today is Nicole Fende, and she is the inventor of a brand new, very interesting and unique board game titled Cryptid Creek. Let's not hang around here any longer. Let's go talk to Nicole and learn all about it. Welcome to the show, Nicole.
Thanks, Nadia. I'm really excited to be here.
Oh, this is so much fun and it's such a fun subject. Let's let's start by I want to hear from you how you got into doing board games because it's a different
Mm.
kind of authorship than books and I have known you through books. Tell us all about that.
Well, I kind of fell into it, and that sounds silly. I wrote a book that's a business book and a graphic novel. And I thought, okay, not everyone likes to read, even with the images. Why don't I make it into a game? So I started on this path to make it into a game. That never worked. I don't know if that will ever be a game, but I got hooked on making games. So that journey led me to the idea of I can make some fun games. That's how I got into board game design.
Oh, how interesting. And so when you started doing board games and got into the games, did you make mock-ups or was it I remember doing Battleship when I was a kid and I didn't have the actual game, so there was actually a paper version of it. And
Right.
my brother and I would have to draw out our little paper versions of it and play Battleship. And when your kid's on the farm and there's nobody around, it was fun.
Yeah. Uh, well, my first published game is called Body Be Gone. It's about getting rid of bodies. You don't kill anybody, you just get rid of the bodies.
Ah,
And so when I started making it, it was at an event for designers. I literally took blank cards and wrote the card out on the card to try to start learning a game or creating a game. So yeah, paper, as simple as pen and paper, can get you started.
so then what started Cryptid Creek, which is the name of your board game, and that intrigued me from the first time I saw a post on Facebook, and I thought, Cryptid Creek, how interesting. Who would have ever thought of that, and why hasn't it been done before now?
I love cryptids, as you also do. I love cryptids. I think they're fascinating. I listen to podcasts about them. I read about them. I've backed on Kickstarter a book about cryptids. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool to make your own cryptid? Plus, up in Wisconsin, there's a city called Rhinelander in Wisconsin that is known for their cryptid, which is called a hodag. And I thought, what? And they've turned it into a tourist attraction.
Mhm.
What a great thing. Create your own cryptid to save a small town.
I think that's fantastic, and I have seen. I do a lot of browsing on YouTube, and that's where I watch my cryptid programs. And some of them talk about these small towns that
Hmm.
either have an incident, which goes over better, I think, with the outside public. This actually happened one time. Somebody saw something, and
Right.
so they have an event, and it becomes a mini legend around the town
Hmm.
and eventually becomes popular and it puts the little town on the map. And oh,
Yes.
remind me in a little bit I want to hear what you have to say about that in just a second. Remind me in a little bit to tell you about
Okay.
a cryptid that has not taken off that I know about from my hometown.
Oh, okay. Yeah, most US cryptids, and if you look beyond the US, some of them have very long histories, like Japanese cryptids have very long histories in their culture. Most US cryptids are recent and, like you said, based on an event, something that happened.
Yeah, and I've seen Mothman, and
Yep.
that one doesn't. Yeah, it's interesting, but I just can't figure out what somebody might have seen to think they for it to be a giant moth or whatever it is. I don't know the details about that one, but there are others that are so much more like what really could have happened,
Right.
and we go all the way back into history. Would you say werewolves were cryptids?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
werewolves and even vampires as a human
Yes.
part is cryptid.
Hmm.
What about unicorns? Would they be a
I
cryptid?
I guess I wouldn't consider it a cryptid, more like a myth,
Yeah,
or a legend, folklore, and not. I
that
mean,
people
it
think
could.
might have really been true.
Yes,
Yeah.
it could be. I guess I haven't seen unicorns mentioned. There's like unicorn hybrids with other animals,
Mm.
but just a, which is funny because the unicorn is already made up. But
Yeah, I know, and that's what I'm trying to figure out. Unicorns and centaurs and minotaurs and
yep,
things
I
from that. I
I
don't think
guess they
of them
could
as
be.
cryptids.
I don't either.
Yeah.
There aren't any of those in my game.
But technically, they maybe could be cryptids. I don't know. It
Yes.
depends on how you interpret the word. And chimeras. That's not
Yes.
that's not cryptids either, is it? Or is it?
I mean, that one is kind of on the edge. You
Yeah.
might be able to. Uh, and really, it's a very vague categorization. So I think if you made the case for it, people would say, "Oh, sure." You know,
Yeah.
it's there's no keeper of the cryptids, if you
I,
will.
I suppose a good lawyer could make that case.
Yes.
Well, I think that's fascinating. So, uh, would you do you know if every state in the United States has something like that, or is probably close to it? I've seen a lot of different ones in a lot of different states. Or maybe I should put it to you, have you heard of a state that doesn't have something like that?
Well, when I was researching my game, yes, I did cryptid research for my game. Everything's on the internet. And I did find a website that listed all 50 states
Yeah,
and a cryptid for each state. Now, some of them you've never heard of,
yeah.
right? I mean, they're really esoteric. Theoretically, though, yes, every state has claim to at least one cryptid.
Now, now I will go back to my hometown, and I just recently wrote a short story about a mini legend that went around when I was 17 and
Okay.
around my small town of Motley, Minnesota. And
Ooh.
it only lasted for a couple of years. I don't think they talk about it anymore. And it was about 1965, 1966, and I don't know if it even drifted into 1967, but
Okay.
it was called the petrified cow. And
Huh.
it was actually something that it was actually turned out to be something that someone really did see, but it
Mhm.
wasn't a living thing. They said it was a petrified cow. And of course, local boys would then tell the story to girls, and you always had to go at night to an abandoned house to try to find the petrified cow. Oh, surprise, it was never there, or nobody ever wanted to get out of the car, but you're conveniently parked in a dark spot. Ha ha. And that's all that ever came out of that. I think Motley should build on that and have a petrified cow. I think they should bring it back.
I love that. And yeah, it'd be easy to have some sightings, right? I love it. There
And have
is
an
one.
artist build it.
Yes, there actually is one cryptid that is included in my game that is known for being a fake, and you'll see why in a second. I'm going to read just a quick thing about it. It's the Pacific Northwest tree octopus.
I saw the picture. What is the story about that?
It's so funny because in it was a hoax created in 1998 as a media literacy test. So it was fake news before there was fake news. Because of course an octopus can't live in a tree,
No.
but it's still around, if you will. Now,
Oh, that's fun. I'm glad they did something with it. I think people just enjoy being entertained and having their life pulled away from the the day-to-day boredom of normal life. And I think people
Yeah.
have fertile imaginations. And I do also believe I still wonder about Bigfoot and whether that's real and what people have seen. I could be a lot of things, but it could be Bigfoot too. And there are, uh, I think, all kinds of things that people see that start
Mm,
these.
right. I just was listening to NPR today, and they mentioned Bigfoot sightings are on the rise just today. So
Oh,
I don't know.
sure. That's not winter, so we can get out into the woods a little bit more often.
Right, right.
And
I
that,
thought you would get a kick out of that.
oh, I am. I'll be on the lookout when I go camping, if I go camping this summer. I'll tell you some of these stories, if I'd have heard them when I was going camping regularly, I might have changed my mind.
Mm, yeah, that's fair.
Well, let's go around and talk about more about the nuts and bolts of this project and what's
Mm.
going on. Tell us about, you're using Kickstarter. Tell us about how
Correct.
that works.
Is what's called a crowdfunding platform, and it allows people. You go out to it. You say, "This is the project I want to do." So in my case, I want to publish this game. And it was originally intended, that's swayed, but originally intended for small creators, like maybe indie creators, people who don't have lots of capital, to get backers, people who say, yes, I would buy this. So I'm going to give you my money up front so you have the capital to make the thing,
Yeah.
right? And you're promising, yes, I'll make it and I'll send it to you when I'm done. And that's basically what a crowdfunding platform is. And Kickstarter has been around for, geez, I think 15, 20 years. I don't even know how
It
long.
it's
Uh,
been a while because I remember when it first came out and I was real interested. I have never done a project, but I
mhm.
am interested. Yeah.
Yeah. And they do everything. Board games is just one of so many categories. Books, absolutely. I've backed a couple books as a backer. So a backer, someone who commits their money and then gets something when one of them was a cryptid book.
So, and with this particular project, because I personally want a copy of your game, so I
Mhm.
will be supporting your Kickstarter program, and we're
Thank
putting
you.
a link up on the screen. So, if anybody else is of a mind to and wants to have this game, they'll be able to get the version of the game when it comes out. It'll be in the fall. Is that correct?
Yes, the plan is so the campaign is running in May, the month of May, and then I have everything set up. I actually print my games in the U.S., which is not common, but I've made that commitment so I can then control the environmental impact of my games and the how labor is treated when the game is made. So because of that, I have a much quicker turnaround time since it's all made here in the U.S. And I've got everything good to go. So, we're gonna hit I've committed to September, October timeframe. It could be sooner, but it will not be later than October at the very latest.
I intend to be the hero with my great grandkids and have some
Ooh,
fun showing them a game that they've never seen or heard of ever before. So that'll be fun.
that's fantastic.
Yeah, I think so. Um, let's see. What else would you like to, well, let's start with this. What kind of advice would you
Mm,
give to someone who has either a book project or some other kind of a project
mm.
where they actually would like to try their own Kickstarter campaign?
That's a great question. And I would start with saying check and see if you can be part of one of their promos. So for example, May on Kickstarter is Micro May. They help promote games that are relatively small size, not small as in experience, but they have a smaller box. So I did this last year with my game Cupcake Craving, and I'm doing it again this year with Cryptid Creek. What that does is Kickstarter basically helps you promote even more than average. So there's one in October that's called Witch Starter. So if there's anything around, the Halloween witches, that sort of thing, you could, tie into that. There's a zine one in this Make 100. You may not, but that's a great place to start. The second thing is you have to bring an audience yourself. A lot of people think, well, Kickstarter will bring an audience. Yes, and they bring an audience once you've proven you can bring an audience. So you have to have shown I can get people interested, and you put on a pre-launch page. You can do it as early as you want. That's what I have up right now. And so people can sign up and say, yes, I'm interested. Send me a link when it goes live. And you can have that up as long as you want, and it helps you build the interest. Um, and then Kickstarter will start to follow on, if you will. The last thing is don't underestimate how much work it's going to be. It's all work because I mean you have an item that you're selling, but then you have all the marketing around it. You are the marketing department. So Kickstarter's not an easy button to get money.
I get that. And another question, you don't have to mention the other programs out there, but there are other options to Kickstarter.
Sure.
What are the things that made you choose Kickstarter
Hmm.
over any number of other uh, platforms that do something
Sure.
similar? I know there are a lot of different ones.
The ones and I don't mind mentioning them. The ones I'm most familiar with are in the board game industry. One is called GameFound. It's gamefound.com, and they are just about games. So it's, the and there's another one that's more general, backerkit.com, backerkit, KIT. And BackerKit does everything, like all the types of campaigns you see on Kickstarter, and they actually just started as a fulfillment service. Now they have their own platform. I went with Kickstarter because GameFound is more towards the big games, these games that you have to spend $100, $200 on. That's not my game. My games are a much lower price point, and and they really don't do much as far as helping you build your audience. Even once you have an audience, you're not going to get a lot of new people, whereas Kickstarter does help. BackerKit, um, same thing. I felt like they don't really have much in the board game industry reach, and I didn't feel like they would help me once I established an audience. I didn't feel like they'd help me grow it.
Okay. Well, then, in closing, I'd kind of like to know if there's anything I haven't asked you or we haven't discussed that you want to be sure the audience knows before we say goodbye.
I'd love if they would at least consider looking out at Kickstarter, kickstarter.com, and you can search for Cryptid Creek. And cryptid spelled Cryptid. Cryptid Creek, that's my game. And take a look at it. It's an easy to learn game, even if you're not a big game player. It's a card game, but it's got bidding. You're like bidding for the parts, the body parts. And it's got some little secret agendas and special powers. It's got a little bit of everything, but it's storytelling, and it plays in 45 minutes. So 2 to 6 players. I'd love if people would check that out. You can find my board game company anywhere. It's at Mayhem Delight. The word mayhem, Mayhem, and then delight. That's my name.
I'll put that on the screen too. I love the gameplay time. That's something I didn't think to ask because nothing is more frustrating than a 4-hour game that doesn't look
Oh,
like it's even close to being done yet. That was the only problem
yes.
I had with Monopoly. Is like, and there's another one even worse, some kind of a war game that
Oh,
goes
yes.
on for, it could go on for days, I think.
Yes. Yes.
Well,
Yes. And if
Nicole, oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say yes, and you might even get through quicker. I like to give an upper limit, 45 minutes. take the box out, set it up, play it, and you're done in 45 minutes.
Perfect, perfect. Thanks for being on the show today, Nicole.
Thanks, Nadia. I had such a great time talking about cryptids with you.
It was fun. I'm looking forward to seeing the game soon.